Andy was fleeing from two cops desperately. He had just stolen a purse from a nice lady as she got out of the restaurant, and the two damned officers saw it. Maybe it was his fault. He should have paid more attention to the surroundings before his move. But each day it was getting harder and harder to focus. It all went downhill when his parents stopped giving him money, after they realized he was spending it all on crack cocaine. It was not his fault that suffering from withdrawal made it impossible to keep a stable job. Then his dealer raised the price steeply. Without any other way to feed the hunger for his next fix, Andy started stealing. This brought him to his present predicament. He glanced behind and noticed that one of the police officers, a middle-aged man, was getting behind. Andy jumped over a fence and was exultant when the other one, a young female, had the trouble repeating his feat. He needed a place out of sight to look into the purse's contents. It was then that he saw the old house, enormous and decaying. Everyone was scared of even going near it. Sometimes people told stories about seeing lights inside, but no one lived there for at least 100 years. Of course, the two cops would never look for him there, so he decided not to risk running down the street but hide inside. It was easy getting in. The door was not even locked. Without paying attention to the ruined living room, Andy threw whatever was inside the purse on an antique table. He was happy to find an expensive cell phone and some other stuff he could sell or trade. Now that he was sure he could buy more, he took out his pipe, and with trembling hands took his last hit. Andy savored every moment of the high. For the first time he noticed a happy porcelain doll sitting across the table, but he remembered the table was empty. He took some steps back, and everywhere he looked he saw dolls and teddy bears. They were atop a cabinet and on each shelf, sitting on comfy chairs and on each step of the stairs, going into the second floor. He rubbed his eyes, but they were all still there. He noticed that the room was lavishly decorated like some fancy old people's home he saw on the internet. He always wanted to get inside one of these. Andy started to walk into the corridors and rooms, and all of them were the same. Bright, stuffed with dolls and exuberant. It smelled like cotton candy and popcorn. Suddenly he felt a ringing sound vibrating in his mind and stumbled upon a toy that he could recollect from his most cherished memories. A puppet that was all the rage in Dredford around 15 years ago. Andy remembered how he was happy when his parents bought him one. He felt sad that they fell out. It was a mistake. He put the puppet back in its place and decided to go home. To his dismay, Andy could not find the way out of the house. The beautiful corridors seemed to be a maze and no rooms had windows. He found only dolls everywhere he looked. They were all happy and smiling. The bedrooms were exquisite, but he only wanted to get out. He stopped when he saw a big old painting of a happy family. They were probably the people who lived here, and this made him miss his parents even more. An eerie red light started coming down the stairs from somewhere on the second floor. Without any alternative, Andy decided to follow it. While he went up, he felt a strong pain in his left eye. Following the light only made it worse. By the end of the stairs, he was engulfed by the red light and searing pain came from his eyes. It was unbearable. Andy wanted to scream. Even closing his eyes or turning away from the light didn't help to diminish it. The ringing sound stopped, and he heard a little girl laughing happily. When Andy was about to pass out from the pain, he found himself strapped to an old surgical table. A pale young girl, no older than 7 or 8, was standing on a chair right next to the table and holding old and rusty medical tools. Her attention was focused into an eyeball stuck into one of these tools while she smiled with glee. To his horror, as his senses cleared, he realized it was his eye. He screamed at the bottom of his lungs. This caught the child's attention.
"Your eyes looking into them makes me want to have them both,"
said the little girl with a smile.
"Now be quiet and do not disturb me while I practice."
The bound man screamed again, louder, mixing pain and terror. The little vampire jumped off the chair next to him and moved to the other side of the room. Andy turned his head, and for the first time he noticed that the strange procedure he was taking part in had an audience. Old, rotten dolls were sitting everywhere, mixed together with ruined teddy bears. To his despair, amid all the toys, 2 people sat beside each other. The 2 cops that were after him. They both had bloody, empty eye sockets. They were not screaming, but appeared to be in shock, mouths agape. The girl climbed up a chair next to them and drank their blood. When satisfied, she returned to Andy and climbed up the chair right next to him. Andy asked for mercy and begged to no avail. He would rather die, but the girl would not listen.
"Why the rush? Everyone will have his day to die,"
answered the little girl joyfully while she took an old, dirty medical tool and approached his right eye. Andy started hearing the ringing sound vibrating inside his mind again. and he was happy but did not know why. He saw his favorite model car inside a glass cabinet surrounded by nice, beautiful dolls. It brought him good memories of his childhood. If only his right eye would stop hurting.